Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're doing a Scareclaw video. Of course, the ban list dropped, so we need to update the Scareclaw build and try to figure out what's the best way to play it. Now, of course, we get Darkroom Blast coming out at the end of the month, so I'm not sure how much changes we need to make, but I thought it was best to make a video because people have been asking for it. So with that being said, let's get straight into it. Starting off with the monsters, of course, Visa Starfrost is, one of the most, arguably if not the most important card of the deck, and really what gets the engine going, I would say. So you have to play Visa Starfrost, and you do search it with the field spell as part of the combo. Actually, that used to be the combo, and now what we do is we do have a bit more of a freestyle and hope we have the second body extender. Next, we're playing 2 Scareclaw Rite cards. So not much has changed in the build in terms of the Scareclaw line. Everything is really efficient, everything's really strong, so we just keep it as it is. So yeah, with that said, 3 of each of the Scareclaw names. I am running a brand new, I want to say, spell card, which explains why we're running so many Scareclaws. It's called Link to the Veins, and I'll get into that in the spell section. Also, if you want to know more in-depth guide about the deck, I do have other videos for that, so if you want to watch those, feel free. I'll put them up on the screen. Those go into depth about combos, guides, and how to play the deck, but really in this video I want to aim at just representing what the latest build should be. Next, playing 3 of the Water Enchantress of the Temple. We are keeping the Brave build. It didn't get touched in the ban list, which I love, because that means we can run it at full power, and this engine and the Scareclaw engine just make a lot of sense together because they're all level 3. Because none of the Scareclaw monsters care about their normal summon except Rite, but you really just try to find Rite. It's not a monster you summon straight away, and that means you're left with 9 monsters that don't have effects. Also, we are testing the Cherubini, which is a card I was using in the older version, but now with Heart Gun we have space in the extra deck, so I thought let's use it and tutor out the Brave engine. We're running a Legal Knight and Wandering Griffin Rider. Again, not much has changed. I think this is a really, it's a core part of the deck now. And you could even argue this deck is just called Adventure Scareclaw. And these cards are great. They have so much utility. Of course, Dark Rule exists in the meta, so there's ways to play around that, like keeping the Griffin in hand, keeping the Illegal Knight in hand, or again, just using the Scareclaw Slash to stop the Dark Ruler, and suddenly you have a scary board with an Omni Negate, which is pretty good. Next up, so I was testing this previously before the deck drastically changed because of the ban list, and that was Kurikara Divincarnate. I did a video talking about the Scareclaw full power with Darkroom Blast versus the Photon Hypernova Shatular deck. Funny enough, what I think is the biggest take from that video is, while it is the Scareclaw stuff, it's definitely Kurikara Divincarnate, because this card wipes boards and it doesn't give the opponent a chance to react, similar to how the Recurse field spell works. So I love that about the card, and I think it's a good card to put in the deck. I think we can struggle going second, and Kurikara just confirms that going second is very easy. And with Small World in the deck, even easier. So we keep the Souls package because it's great with Small World, and this was always part of the deck. Personally, I think the Adventure line works really well with the Souls package, and because of that reason we get to draw cards, and drawing cards is great in this deck because we have those extenders like Parallel Exceed, like the Scareclaw monsters, letting us, giving us those bodies in the field to link climb, and that's really important. So that's why Souls in the deck, and I can't stress this enough, such a good smaller target, and is the reason why we run 2 of this one and not 2 of this one. The Scareclaw deck is known for its link climbing, not really so much the Synchro Exceed stuff, so Parallel Exceed makes a lot of sense in the deck, and because of that reason we run 3 of it. Cards like Link Karibo can tutor out the Parallel Exceed, which goes straight into the Tri-Heart, which is really nice, and yeah, that's why Parallel Exceed is in the deck. Really important card. Definitely wouldn't play less than 3. And one card to wrap up the monster lineup is Archfiend Eccentric. I'm just respecting back row decks, runic decks, and that's why it's there. It's a nice small target as well, but mainly it's just to respect those decks because, of course, the ban list didn't touch Mystic Mine, and it didn't touch runic, which I don't think it would do anyway. But because of that reason, we just got to respect those decks a little bit more, so that's why I'm running the Archfiend Eccentric. And that's pretty much the monster lineup. Not much has changed. Obviously, we've lost the Jet Synchron. I was thinking of ways to tutor out a tuner, but it just didn't make sense in the deck, and I think I've made the decision to stick to what the deck is known for, what it's really good at, and that's link climbing and extending and OTKing. So that's the monster lineup. We are still keeping the same Scareclaw lineup. There's not many cards here. There's not much going on. I'll just move this on the screen so you can see a bit better. So we're running the 1 Scareclaw Rival still, which I might want to bump up to 2. We're running the 1 Scareclaw Splash to search it, take out Dark Rulers, we love that. And then the 2 field spells. In Dark and Blast, again, you only ever want to run 2. You definitely don't want to run 3 because the new spell card actually adds it from grave to hand. and that's really sick. So that's the Scareclaw lineup. In this deck, I just think we need to see our Brave cards as much as possible. One, to protect our combo, and two, it just works really well with the deck. It's very synergistic, and just a really cool addition. And with that, we've got, of course, the Faithful Avenger and Draco back. Next engine, well, not really engine, but next power spell is Caught by the Grave. Amazing card. And then here we go. This is the exciting part. Link into the Veins. There we go. So I was testing this at 3, and now I've took it down to 2. I've actually been speaking to someone who subscribed to the channel who actually won an OTS championship. So shout out to you, man. I was testing this at 3, and I thought, you know, I'm going to put this to 2. Summons a monster from your hand to the field and immediately summons a link 1 using that monster. The best part is that monster can't be negated, and it will kind of activate effects on the summon of that card. And that's really strong. So the reason why I'm running at 2 is we don't actually see as many Scareclaws as we'd like. So for that reason alone, I'm only running at 2, and it might bump up to 3. You might have noticed we are changing some ratios around. I'm running 2 small world, not 3. I'm testing this out where I don't want to draw too much of this card. I always talk about small world and I love the card, but sometimes it does get in the way. And you know, running 2 is not bad because you do get to see it, you just don't see too much of it. And also it's a hard once per turn. I think everyone can agree with me, when they test and when they see cards too much, they just take it out. So it's one of those cases for me. Do I think the card is bad? Definitely not. I'm just using it at 2 for now, and I may bump it up to 3. And some more power spells. We're running Ultimate Slayers. So this is very much a preference pick. If this card is not in the deck, I believe it's a 41 card deck. I like Ultimate Slayer, and I always found there was a lot of space in the extra deck for it, so I decided to run it. The targets are Herald. We're still keeping the Herald in there, even though we can't summon it, because it searches the Illusion of Chaos. And we have the Totally Awesome, which is a flex pick because I don't know how scary the Exceeds in the game right now are. Of course, Abyss Dweller comes to mind, and Baguska, but we can usually play around those. And then for Fusion, we have a lot of targets. Entis is amazing. Shuffling back Kaleido Heart is really nice too, so that's why I'm running Ultimate Slayer at 2. And you've noticed I was running at 3 in my main build, but I've put it down to 2 now. And it just means the deck is more consistent with cards like Link into the Veins, Small World. We want our chances to see our other cards like the monsters, and hopefully this is enough to push it through. I think Droplets is really cool. In a deck that has a lot of 1-card combos, you want to be able to use your Droplets to 1, negate the opponent's board, and 2, just be really efficient. Sometimes all you need is 1 Scareclaw monster and 1 Adventure monster. So sometimes you have like a dead monster in hand or a small world in hand, for example. Just get rid of them and negate stuff, and it's really, really cool. So that's why Droplets is still in the main deck. So guys, that's been the spell and trap lineup. Not much has changed. I think the direction of the deck is still exactly the same. All we're doing now is we're in a sort of limbo in October where we're waiting for the Darkwing Blast cards. But until then, this is how you can play the deck and how I found the most success with it. So yeah, give it a shot. And we'll move straight on to the extra deck now, which did go through some changes. Okay, so it's time to talk about the extra deck. I am letting a friend borrow my Baron de Fleur, so that's why I'm just using Majestic Star Dragon for now. I figured, you know, it's a level 10 monster, I want to say. Or maybe it's level 11, I can't count. But imagine that's a Baron. So of course, Baron is really good in the deck. Because Hulk's gone, because of the changes the balances went through, I figured it's time to try Baron. It's just a really good card. Visa Starfrost and Rykart make Baron, and those cards are super searchable, and you don't get locked into anything as you're searching them. So I think Baron is just a you have to play. It's just really, really powerful. Unfortunately, it is quite expensive right now. Hopefully we get a reprint in the next Brothers of Legend, Battle of Legend set. Let's see. The NTS Herald, totally, these kind of work as Ultimate Slayer targets, and they're not bad as well, because totally goes back into the extra deck when sent to grave. This pops a card, and this guy searches Illusion of Chaos, like I mentioned before. Next, we'll just talk about our Link 1 starters. Link Spider is great, helps our Brave token turn into an effect monster, which we need as material for the Triheart, and that's really all why it's there. Link Rainbow is great as well, because again, we talked about it before, because the Link arrow points down, it triggers our Parallel Exceed. It's also a way to turn the Magician's Souls into something useful. Okay, something interesting. Yes, Jet Synchron is gone. I wonder if I should still be playing Link Ribber, I'll be quite honest with you guys. But for now, I'm going to keep it in because I think it does have some utility. And in a weird world, it's probably really strong. So I'm just going to keep it in the deck for now. So talking about Scareclaw Lightheart, the card that changes the whole deck and makes it what it is right now, currently in the game, is such a heavy combo line that it enables. It's very similar to Striker Dragon. Let's us search the field spell. If you control Vice Star from the field, the Lightheart comes back to the field, and that means we can do a lot of link extensions. Yes, that usually spells out the Hauke Fibrax, but we can still do other things without that line, and you can still do the same thing anyway in terms of getting bodies on the field. Next up are some Link 2 monsters that we are playing. Because everything in the deck is level 3, what we can do is summon 2 level 3 Scareclaws, go into the Cherubini, send the adventure monster, the temple, as cost, by the way. Obviously, you are sacrificing the Link 1 line, but I've noticed there are some game states where you can't even do that. So doing the Cherry Bean line is actually really, really sick and can carry you into the game just as much as the Scareclaw line. Next, the Scareclaw Tryhard. Scareclaw Tryhard is the reason why the deck is so powerful and why it's so scary, being able to OTK out of nowhere. And next, we're running 2 boss monsters, Apollousa and Access Code Talker, who, by the way, just got announced as a reprint in the Brothers of Legend set, which is really nice for budget players. But yeah, running the Access Code and the Apollousa. So IP Masquerade is a line that we try to go to more often than before. Because of that reason, I think Apollousa is even more live than it was before. It's decent against Terra Element because you can get all their starters like the Rhino, the Sharon, the Alubar, the Albaz. And Access Code acts as a pseudo OTK boss monster and plays really well under Tryhard because it doesn't go into defense. It's a Link monster, and that's really cool. And then to round it off, Underworld, the goddess of the closed world. So this card is really cool. And one reason why I like to play it is we can get around cards that act like towers, like boss monsters that are hard to take down, basically. So because of that reason alone, we just use this card with the IP, with the bodies left on the field, after Tryhard combos off. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. That was the Scareclaw update for October. Of course, Darkwind Blast is right around the corner. So we're going to wait a few more weeks until we get the amazing spell and the insane trap card, which is like Sword Soul Blackout, but banishes if you control Visa Starfrost. So I think the deck has a lot of ways to go, and I'm excited about it. Link into the Reigns also has a really cool second effect, which lets us extend and potentially create that 1-card combo that we love. So I think that's the next step for the deck and the next stage. I think it has a lot of good potential, and I think the matchups going into the next format, you know, might be a little bit tough. Of course, Terra Element issues is coming around the corner, but I think the deck is really strong at OTKing, and if we can make a strong turn 1 board or find a way to lock the opponent, or we can use a going second strategy to win the game and OTK really easy with Tryhard, I think those are the routes Scareclaw can go in the future. And with that being said, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.